want to go out and focus on another very important story, viewers. This is in the run-up to the Karnataka elections. India is a secular country. Viewers, every religion is equal under the law, but our secularism is routinely mocked. Some communities get a raw deal. The Hindu community has the most reason to complain, some would argue. Hindu temples, for instance, are under state control. Donation to temples are appropriated by the state routinely. Hindu personal laws have been codified to a large degree, much beyond the personal laws of other faiths. Hindus in non-Hindu states do not enjoy minority status. The biggest genocide linked to Hindus in Kashmir has gone unpunished, almost entirely unpunished. Today, let me tell you of another aberration, at least an aberration that many people are beginning to focus on and talk about. In Karnataka, at least 4 commissions have been set up by the state governments, have recommended the inclusion of Muslims as a whole as backward classes, opening the door for religion-based reservations in a secular state. The commissions were set up under 3 Congress governments. In 1961, there was 1 commission set up between 1972 and 75, and again in 1990, and 1 Janta government led by Ramakrishna Hegde set up a commission in 1986. Each of these 4 commissions unambiguously made a case for reservations and state benefits for the entire, yes viewers, the entire Muslim population of Karnataka. Advocates of Muslim reservation rely on the Somashekaran case of 1979 to argue that it is constitutionally permissible to include an entire community as socially backward. But viewers, a number of people have questioned this conclusion. They ask, where is the hard statistical evidence to prove that an entire community, that each member of the Muslim community in Karnataka as a whole can be considered backward and therefore deserving of state benefits? The BJP state government has in fact on its part called this categorization by the state as a product of rank appeasement politics and has struck down what it believes is a religious quota, a kind of religious reverie, and therefore ultra-virus of the principle of secularism. Viewers, this has become a massive debate. I've given you some facts, and let me also tell you in my hand, viewers, is the list of caste communities who enjoy reservation. And while there are several castes that are listed, when it comes to category 2B, viewers, category 2B, it's right here. Muslims, name of caste, the entire community, viewers, is designated as backward. Now, this is rather strange, viewers, because the central list for Karnataka, at least 9 Muslim groups are excluded from reservations on the central list. So, viewers, the state list gives out the benefit of reservations and other state sanctioned relief, aid, call it what you want to the entire community, but the central list doesn't do so. Now this, viewers, many people say constitutes a discrepancy of its own. Now, it's also strange because 84% of Hindus are not all privileged, viewers. They're also not all backward. So none of them as a community as a whole, the Hindu community as a whole is not considered backward. But the Muslim community, which is 13% of the population as a whole, is considered backward. And obviously, the question therefore is asked, is this religious quota reverie for votes? Let's open this up. Let's ask some basic questions. Syed Aslam Pasha, spokesperson of the JDS, is with us. Sanket Yenagi, an advocate from Bengaluru, is with us. Let me begin with you, Mr. Yenagi. We also have Sanju Verma, national spokesperson of the BJP, Ishkan Bhandari, also here with us. Mr. Yenagi, is this religious quota for the entire Muslim community in the state of Karnataka a reverie for votes? It's a very simple question. The central list doesn't extend the benefits to the entire Muslim community, but the state list does. How does this work?
When it has been already permitted by the Supreme Court in Shivshankar's case and subsequently has been accepted and adopted by the state government, and in the subsequent challenges it has not been disputed at all. So I will not be discussing on that subject at this point of time as to whether it is amounting to Revdi culture or Revdi for the election.
No, why not, Mr. Yenagi? We should. I have pointed out.
Political, not legal.
No, 1 second.
It is purely legal.
No, 1 second. I have pointed out the fact that the Somasekaran case.
I will not be answering.
No, okay, I understand that. But Mr. Yenagi, I have also referred to the Somasekaran case of 1979, which says that, you see, a community can be treated entirely as backward. But I want to ask you, sir, how is it that the central list makes a distinction from the state list? Can you explain this discrepancy to me?
If at all. So firstly, whether it is a central list or the state list, if it has been provided outside the list of a state or the state's competence, that should have been challenged before the competent court. In this case, the competent court would be the Supreme Court. In case the Supreme Court has said something, and according to the state government, it is following it, and according to the opposition, if it is not following it, the right course of action is to seek the review of the judgment of the Supreme Court or file a petition before the Supreme Court for the clarification. That has not been done by any of the parties so far. So under these circumstances, the law as it stands in Somashekaran case continues to be binding and continues to be undisputed and continues to be acceptable and accepted by all the parties in Karnataka. That is one aspect of it. And the second aspect of it would be, insofar as I would be concentrating on the legal aspects only, in Karnataka, especially on the reservation or destabilizing the reservation or the new reservations which have been included. Firstly, I would say there is a procedure contemplated under law, in the sense to have a new category of the reservation or to change the reservation or to modify, alter or delete or substitute any reservation. It is called as the categorization or re-categorization of the reservations. For that, there are three important aspects which need to be followed.
Yeah.
The first one is socio-economic survey or collecting of the empirical data or the final report of the backward
commissions. Are you trying to tell me, sir?
So here,
are you trying to tell me that we'll come to that. But are you trying to tell me that every Muslim in the state of Karnataka is backward? I mean, that can't be, sir. It's not logical. And let me also tell you, you obviously commented about the Somasekaran case, as I predicted you would. But when the Andhra Pradesh High Court, let me tell you, in 2012 clearly stated that Muslims, Christians, Sikhs are heterogeneous. What was the basis for the state government in Karnataka to consider Muslims as homogeneous, sir? It's quite clearly that there is some benefit in doing so. Mr. Yenagi, very quickly, please.
Yes, the judgment of Andhra High Court would not be binding on the Karnataka.
No, I know that. Now that's a very clever. No, hang on. I'm talking about a principle. Since hang on. You quoted the Somasekaran judgment. No, 1 second. Let me open this up. I knew you would say this because it's a weak ground, viewers.
Can I just come in now?
It's a very weak. Yes, 1 second. Let me open this up. Mr. Pasha, governments who depend on Muslims as a vote bank have queered the pitch. They have treated Muslims as homogeneous. When in another state, in a neighboring state, the High Court there said that you can't. These are heterogeneous. So clearly this is being done. Now maybe it hasn't been challenged because,
Rahul,
there's political consensus and no one wants to upset the apple cart. But that doesn't mean it's right in principle. I mean, you have a religion. How is this not a religious quota then? Explain to me.
Rahul, I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
Rahul, I'll tell you what. Okay, the Muslims, as you rightly said, have always been used as a vote bank. There's no doubt about it. But pulling off the reservation for the Muslims is a devastating blow.
No.
To the Muslim
See, you can't have it both ways. You can't say some people exploit them. They give them Revdi, and when someone comes back and takes back Revdi, then that's a travesty. How can you say this, sir?
No. I'll tell you what. You're talking about the Revdi culture. The BJP is playing the election gimmick. This is the Revdi culture. Adding 2% reservation to the Vokkaliga community and the Lingayat community is Revdi culture.
Mr. Pasha, Mr. Pasha,
the literacy rate of
Mr.
Muslims
Pasha,
is 68.5%.
sorry, Mr. Pasha,
the
1 second.
The average of literacy rate
Mr.
is
Pasha, there is an
74.5.
anomaly. There is a discrepancy.
I'll
The
give you some
central
facts.
law, the
Rahul,
central
I'll give
law
you some
doesn't
facts. You need to
recognize
allow me.
Muslims as homogeneous. The state law does, and you are hiding behind a Soma Sekran. Now, let me tell you, viewers,
Rahul,
the Supreme Court is not always right. There can be,
Rahul, I'll give you some
there
facts.
can
Give
be
me
the
about
cause.
30 seconds.
Yeah, no, hang on. This is
made your
rather
point.
strange.
Now let the BJP.
No, I'll give you about 30 seconds. I will tell you.
Let me also bring the BJP in. You made an accusation against the BJP. Let them respond. Sanju Verma, you are playing. Now, hang on. 1 second. The Congress party and the JDS today, viewers. 1 second, Mr. Pasha. Please don't speak over me. Give me 30 seconds. There are others also on this panel. See, viewers, it's very interesting. The Congress party, the JDS and others are saying this is a travesty against Muslims. Now, viewers, think about this. The Hindu community is not treated as homogeneous by any of these parties. They, in fact, want to go out there and treat Lingayats as a separate sect. They'll go there and try to divide the Lingayats and the Hindu community. But for their political ends, they will see the Muslims as homogeneous and come up with some kind of a discrepancy. This doesn't work. But nonetheless, Sanju Verma, let me ask you, this is being done now, just before the elections. Why couldn't this have been done on the first day you took office? The Congress says the first day they come back to office, if they do, they will reverse this. So why didn't you do it 3 years ago?
Okay, Rahul, let me just say this. It is the state government prerogative. It has decided to do that 4 weeks or 6 weeks
Timing
ahead of
matters,
elections
ma'am.
Okay, let me complete, Rahul. You asked me a question. Let me, respond to you. It is the prerogative of the state government. So the timing cannot be questioned. And I just have one very important point to make, because the entire Congress top brass from Siddaramaiah to DK Shivakumar to opposition spokespersons have been actually saying that what the Bombay government did is unconstitutional. Just 10 seconds. The Constitution of India states in Article 15(4), nothing in Article 15 or in Clause 2 of Article 29 shall prevent the state governments from making any special provision for advancement of any socially or educationally backward classes or something to that effect. But, let me tell you that be it the Miller Committee, be it the Nagagowda Commission, be it the Havanur Commission, be it the Venkataswamy Commission or the Chinnappa Reddy Commission, they all said one very important thing. They agreed that Muslims are underrepresented in government offices, in police forces, in educational institutions, but you will be surprised to know none of these commissions said,
just for your information, we are just 2.4% in the bureaucratic positions. 2.4%. Our population is around 13% in the entire nation. The bureaucratic positions we hold only 2.4%.
Is socially and economically backward. So if Brahmins cannot get reservation, if they are a part of EWS, if Jains are a part of EWS, if Mudaliars are a part of EWS,
Madam, what makes you think, Rahul, if I may ask one question to Sanjuji, Madam, what makes you think that the Vokkaliga community and the Lingayat community is backward?
Okay, 1 second,
Why
sir.
have you added the reservation percentage?
Mr. Pasha, please. Mr. Pasha, please.
Why have you added?
No, why? If you didn't think, hang on. If you think they're the creamy layer, Mr. Pasha, why didn't you revoke the reservations? You should have taken them out. But you didn't want to, because the JDS has a vested interest. The Vokkaligas and the Lingayats, for the Vokkaligas are also important.
Tell you what, okay?
So, no, do you think Vokkaligas do not deserve any reservations?
Right. This is...
Straight
they
question.
Definitely deserve. They definitely deserve. There's no doubt about it.
Look,
Rahul, all I want to say is...
No, you can't have your cake and eat it too,
all
sir,
I
please.
want to say is...
Now, there is a question of timing. Iskaran Bhandari, let me bring you in.
Both the national parties have played around their bit of politics.
They have. And don't say that you haven't. Don't say that the regional party, the JDS hasn't. No, 1 second. I'm going to be very, very fair here, viewers. Let me tell you. The timing of this move. Excuse me, Mr. Pasha, this is not fair. Please, you can't keep speaking over other people, okay? I'm trying to get in Mr. Bhandari also. Let's be a little more reasonable. Don't try to paint yourself as holier than thou, because you are not. If all political parties have played fast and loose with a concept, doesn't mean, viewers, that I'm not going to call it out as such. Yes, it's a late intervention by the BJP. They could have done this 2.5 years ago. Now, you can argue the prerogative is, of course, it is with the state government, but timing does matter, and politics it does. On the other hand, treating Muslims as a homogeneous unit makes a mockery of the constitution. Iskan Bhandari, very quickly.
Rahul, it will be disingenuous to say it's only a political, legal issue. It is, of course, a political as well as a social issue.
Yes.
And I will just give you a small example because this was going for years. In Assam, government was funding madrasa education for years.
Yeah.
The government changed. They brought in a repealing act, and the Honorable High Court upheld the repealing act.
True.
And the Supreme Court has not stayed it. So technically that was going on for 50, 60 years or 70 years in Assam. But the new government has the power to
Has
bring
the
in a
power,
new
and they
law
can
which
call
they
a spade, and if they want to intervene, they will. I'll leave it at this. I've run out of time. Viewers, this debate is not going away very soon. We're going to come back to this debate with more facts. I've already engaged you with a large number of facts. Please go and tell everybody who you meet and talk to that this was a very clever move at appeasement, which has been struck down. I'll leave it at this.